We are back again, the Write Books That Sell Now team, ready to drop some more knowledge on you about how to make your book awesome and your author journey even awesomer. I'm Anita Henderson, and that lady over there is Candace Davis. How you doing, hon?
I'm doing fantastic on this rainy, stormy Atlanta day.
It is a rainy, stormy day. It's a dark and stormy night.
It is, but I love these days.
I do love these days when I don't have to be outside in it and I can be cozy in my house and do whatever I need to do, which is a lot of stuff today. But so we decided to take a break from our busy schedules and chit chat with you folks. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. You guys know we've been sharing some tips and insight on how to be a super smart author. And one of the things we want to talk about today is something I think a lot of authors just kind of either forget about or never think about or just don't know how to do, which I totally get. And that is how to use your book to get media attention. It really is kind of this secret weapon for smart, successful authors, as far as I'm concerned. And I get why people don't do it because it's probably not something that comes naturally. I think for the people who do it well, half of them, a fraction of them, they're just kind of like figuring it out. It's kind of like, let me just do this and see what works. Most people are not trained in, media relations and all of that kind of stuff. Candace, I know you've had some clients who've done phenomenally well with media.
They blow my mind, Anita. They blow my mind. And here's the thing: we have to remember that media is not just what it used to be anymore, right? So if people worry about, I've got to travel to studios, and sometimes you do. You travel to studios to do interviews. But I've had clients who've done interviews for national shows from the comfort of their own home office.
Yep.
They were dressed from the waist up, as we are now. Very lovely.
We won't talk about the bottom half. That's okay.
Yeah, no, don't worry about the bottom half. You can have your Lululemon stretch pants on if you want to.
Yeah, how did you know?
But I mean, I've had clients who've appeared on everything from local radio and local news shows to shows that we all know, like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz and the Today Show and major national and international shows. Great places to position themselves as the authority in their niche because they did the work to get out there with their books.
Well, you just dropped the first knowledge bomb on everybody. And we're not so much going to talk about, the process for you to get this media attention. We share a lot of that in Authors Ignited, which is our online community, but we want to tell you the why it's important for you to do that, because a lot of people shy away from it because they don't get it. They're like, why would I put myself through the pressure and stress of trying to get media attention when, I don't know how to do it and I don't really get what the outcome is. And so Candace really just talked about one of the very first reasons why you can do it, and that is to let people know that you are an authority. Right? You need to let people know that you're awesome, who you are, and really to show your authority. Again, you're an author for a reason. You have done this awesome thing, and you need to let people know what you've done and who you are. Right, Candace?
Yeah, I've seen such amazing results from people who do that. And remember, it's not just necessarily TV. Podcasts are an important part of our current media landscape. And I had one client who, on the week that her book was released, she appeared on more than 30 podcasts. Now, mind you, they were recorded some weeks or months in advance, but she had organized it in such a way that the week that her book was released, she appeared on about 30 podcast interviews. So think about it. If you're a person who listens to podcasts, you probably listen to more than one. And so if you hear the same person addressing the subject on 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 podcasts in the course of a week, you're going to believe that she's the authority on that subject.
Exactly. I mean, that's really, really important. Just to let people know that you know what you're talking about. It's not enough just to write the book. You really have to, and that kind of goes back to the confidence issue. You've got to know that you know your stuff. Okay. You have to know that, you can answer questions and that you've created a unique perspective on this particular topic. It may be something that there's dozens of other people out there who know about, but you have a particular perspective or an insight. Perhaps you have a process that you're sharing with people, maybe some results that you've gotten for clients or other people. And so that's why, you want that media attention, that broader media attention. And this is not necessarily just on a national level. Candace and I highly suggest you start local.
Yeah.
Start local to practice, right? Practice your talking points, practice getting across your message. And then you can expand to sort of regional or national media. And that goes for broadcast, TV, and radio, as well as online, which would be podcasts and blogs and things like that, as well as print media that, believe it or not, does still exist. There are still some newspapers and magazines out there that you can tap into. So much on the specialty side, right? Pretty much every industry has a website with a newsletter or some kind of magazine. And oftentimes these days also a podcast maybe that you could be a guest on. So these are great opportunities to help you, again, show your authority, prove your authority, demonstrate your authority to those people who are watching and listening. So then the second reason, I guess, that you want to use media attention is, so let's see, we talked about showing your authority. I think we kind of combine two of these things, and that is letting more people know what you do, okay? So one, you're an authority, and then secondarily, you want to let more people know who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had the experience so many times of all of a sudden, I've never heard of this particular expert before, and all of a sudden I see them everywhere. They're on this podcast and that radio show and this local news show and that TV show, and you're wondering, where did this person come from? But when you think about that subject, you now think about that person, right? Because now you know he or she is the expert. You know what they do because you heard from them 5 or 6 or 7 times. And even if you didn't actually watch the interview, just hearing their name and getting that name recognition tied to what they actually do makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had clients who have done that. And again, I think sometimes authors are kind of apprehensive to do this because they think, oh, there's already a bunch of gurus or a bunch of people or, the 5 main well-known people in my industry. Well, trust and believe that there's room for you too. You have just got to find your niche and your particular way of explaining what you talk about or what you teach or how you serve or share with people. You have to find your own way. Every guru came in behind somebody else. So trust me, there's room for you too.
Yeah, when you think about how many personal finance, for example, experts you've seen on every morning news show has to have one, right? Every radio show has to have one. Every podcast relevant to that has someone on who's in personal finance. They're all talking about basically the same basic concepts. There's not much difference between one and the other. They've all written a book, I can promise you that. And that's how they got known for their particular twist on basic. But personal finance there's no magic in there. It's all pretty much the same. They've just given it their twist and used their book to position themselves as the expert on the subject. There are many other experts. They're just putting a different angle on the subject.
Yeah, that's true. And trust that these producers or, talent scouts or whatever they're called for different medium, they're looking for people who have a book. Right? They're looking for the person who's written the book on it, the person who's the authority. If you haven't done that, you're probably not going to be tops on their list to be a guest on their show. Having written a book says to the media that you have at least developed some kind of approach to your expertise or to your industry, and that you have taken made a commitment to write about it and share that information with other people. So you're like up a couple of steps, beyond just somebody they heard about or whatever. The fact that you've written a book about it says that you probably have something to say, okay? And that you would probably be a good guest. So that's really helpful. And it absolutely does let more people know about you and what you do. Because, of course, as a smart author, you're going to get on there and you're going to have your what I call talking points. And so that no matter what questions they ask you, you're going to at least cover your top 2 or 3 things that you want to talk about to let people know your specific expertise. Okay, so then they will know more about not just your book, how you relate to this topic that this reporter or interview host is having you on the show for, but also, who you are, what you do, yes, what your book is about, and how you fit into this subject matter.
Yeah.
So one other reason that you want to use media attention, and again, this is interviews on TV, radio, podcasts, interviews with print reporters, is to cause people to work more closely with you, to cause them to want to access you, reach out to you, to buy your other products, your services, your coaching services, maybe hire you as a speaker, and all of that equals you making some more money.
We're all about making some more money. I think about, maybe a decade or 2 ago when the people who wrote books, self-publishing hadn't really taken off yet, right? So the people who wrote the books that you bought in the bookstore seemed totally inaccessible to you. The idea that you would pick up a book in the bookstore and then get online or get on the phone and call that person up to work with them didn't happen, pretty much impossible. If they were accessible at all, their fees were astronomical. They could be because they were one of the few people who had written the book. But today, with self-publishing, we don't have to be at that high of a level. We don't have to be number 1 in our field, world-renowned, Nobel Prize winning in order to use a book to get more clients and customers. If you have any existing product or service, using your book to get more media attention, people these days know they can Google you and figure out where to find you. They will find you on Facebook, on Instagram. They will direct message you. They will hit you up on Twitter. Because if they are intrigued by what they saw when you were in that interview or what they read when you were interviewed for a print publication, they're going to try to find you to work with you. They want to know more.
And well, that's truly one of the greatest benefits of being an independent published author is that you can use your book, you can use the content in your book to drive people to work more closely with you. You can add information in there that is specifically to benefit you and your coaching practice, your consulting firm, your whatever it is you're selling, which may not necessarily be an opportunity for you if you were going with traditional publishing. A traditional publisher is not in business to help you grow your business. They want to sell more books, okay? And so some of those sort of what may be considered self-serving things to them, they may actually pull out.
They do pull out, yeah.
But you as...
They take them out.
Yeah, you as the independent author get to leave in that kind of stuff. And of course, we always, warn against overdoing it and being super salesy with your book. But there is a way to incorporate information in your book that makes you the obvious choice. And the obvious next thing for your reader to do is to contact you or go to your website or whatever. Yeah. So certainly using that, using those media interviews and that media attention with your book as an author certainly helps you have an opportunity to sell more, to be more exposed and have greater visibility for your products, your services, your coaching practice, your speaking platform, all of that.
And if you don't have products and services when you publish your book, or if you've already published your book and you're looking around and thinking, well, I don't have anything else to sell, you can create something else to sell. You can actually use the content in your book to create something else that people can pay you to access. It is not, there's nothing cheaty about it. Some people feel like, well, I've already put it in the book. How could I sell it to them in another way? People want it in another way, right? Everybody doesn't necessarily process things from a book in such a way that they can implement it and get the results that they want all by themselves. So sometimes they want it from you in another way, and you using your book to reach them through the media will allow you to sell them those other services, whether it's an online course or a membership group or whatever it is that you created to go along with your book. But they've got to know about you first. And getting in the media with your book is one way for them to know about you.
Mm-hmm. And again, we've had multiple clients who have done this media splash. In a number of different ways. Again, we've talked about those who've gone on shows like Dr. Oz and so forth, some who've been featured in the New York Times and in local print publications, folks who've made the rounds on podcasts to a number of different audiences. And they've done it in their own way, and they've made something from it. So you have to be creative, and you have to be open, and you kind of do have to know how to do it. And that's more than what we'll share on this session, but do know that these are some of the tactics and strategies and things that we talk about and share in our group, Authors Ignited. And we invite you to join Authors Ignited if you're an already published author and you've had your book, I don't know, 6 months, 6 years, 12 years, whatever, and you want to do something more with it. You want to enhance your visibility, maybe find out how to get those media interviews and what the process is to do that, among other things. Oh my gosh, we've got a 4-step process, which we call an author success pathway, to get you from wherever you are right now and into the point of accomplishing the results that you define for yourself. And it covers a multitude of things. We've got some phenomenal already published authors in the group who are excited and ready to get to work, rolling up their sleeves to get step one. We're in step one for several people to get this process going. And it's a continuous process because you're constantly learning and you're constantly growing. And from our perspective, you are always promoting yourself as author of.
Yeah. And you have to do step one. That's the foundational step where you put things in place. And we show you exactly what you need to have in place. But you put these things in place so that you can build upon them. And ultimately, our goal for you is to not just sell more books, not just have more people know you're an author, but also earn more money. It costs money to publish a book. Yes. Someone had to be paid to design the cover. Someone had to be paid to do the interior layout. If nothing else, every time you print a book, it costs money.
That's right.
And so while we know that your book is a service to people, and we're thrilled about that, and it should be, and if it's not, you need to reconsider putting it out there with your name on it. It also should be a service to you, and you should be able to use your book to bring in more income in a variety of different ways. And that's why we created Authors Ignited. We want authors to not just publish their books and have a little celebration that then fizzles out a few weeks or a few months later, but to really be able to build on that to create a legacy of success.
Yeah. And we started this group, this online community, because, we have in our individual coaching, author coaching businesses, as well as with our online course, Write Books That Sell Now, Candace and I have really for a long time focused very much on the writing part of the book, getting that content tight, making sure even that your publishing process is smooth and easy and that you end up with a high quality book when you're done. But we have had so many authors over the years come up to us and say, I thought my book was going to do this for me, or I just, I want to make some more money with my book. I thought that writing the book in and of itself was just going to suddenly make me a whole lot of money. Or I thought that I'd be able to quit my day job and be an author or a coach or whatever full time and use my book as leverage for that. Or I thought all these things. And as it turns out, or I thought I was going to sell a whole bunch of books or make a whole bunch of money or whatever it is. And it turns out it hasn't done that for me. Yeah. And when we dig a little deeper with them, and Candace knows this, we find out that, they might have started out well. And so maybe in the first couple of months to a year, they did really well with whatever, whether it was book sales or getting more speaking invitations or whatever. And then womp womp, something happened or nothing happened. And now the book is sort of, a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah. And if you don't know, you don't know, right? So if you don't know what to do next, who could blame you? I mean, getting through the writing process and the publishing process, there's so much to learn in those steps that it's hard to think about what I'm going to do next. A lot of authors plan a really great book launch, whether it's online or live and in person. I've even had authors talk to me about having several book launches in different cities because they grew up in one city and they still have connections there. They live somewhere else, whatever the case may be, but they still ultimately lost money on their book. because they didn't have a plan for what they would do once they got past the launch period. And it's not just about driving book sales. Your book can do so much more for you.
Yeah, so we are excited to take our authors through so much of like beyond just book sales, beyond, the heart, I got the book out, now what? Okay, so I guess you could say Authors Ignited is the now what, the next step in your publishing journey. We hope you join us. We would love to have you there. It's an exciting time, an exciting community. We're doing a whole lot of stuff. And so you need to just watch this happen. Go ahead and join at www.authorsignited.com. Go ahead and get in. Don't get left behind. You really want to get in as soon as possible, because in addition to the community and the work that we have, exercises and worksheets and information you really can't get anywhere else, we also have group strategy calls, and you don't want to miss any of these. So they are coming up, and we've got just a lot of great content. And of course, you're learning from us. We've been there. We've made the mistakes. We've coached people who've been successful and who've made some mistakes. And so we're going to bring all of that to the table at Authors Ignited.
Yep. We'll see you there.
All right, everybody. Check it out. See you around. Bye.